Hello, Tim Ringgold. Welcome to the Recovering Entrepreneur Show. How are you this evening?
It is great to be with you, Bobbie. Thanks for having me.
Well, I'm very excited to have you back. My audience may or may not know that you were kind enough to bless me with your presence and insight on 321 as well. I will kick us off by being very honest with the audience. You and I just had a little bit of a powwow before press and record. We're recording this on January 6th, and there's been a lot going on today. And, Tim, I appreciate you being here, even though it was a very impactful day for you. And if you don't mind kind of kicking us off with where you're at, I love that what you're about to share, and the point that as entrepreneurs, there's days like this. And the floor is yours, my friend.
Yeah. So, hey, everybody. By now, I guess, a couple of weeks have gone by. You know where you were on January 6th. And, each one of us has a different distance from the political arena. Some of us are in the arena. Some of us are front row ticket holders. Some of us are upper deck ticket holders. Some of us are 10 miles away from that arena. But there are certain kind of seismic moments that even if you're not in the arena, you hear about it and you experience it. And today, the day we're taping was one of those days when I had a great coaching call with one of my clients this morning, and I got off the call in a great mood. Was like, oh, that was so good. We did such cool work today. And then I saw on my Facebook feed the results of the Georgia runoff, and was like, oh, today was a really important day for the Senate races there. And then I was like, oh, and today's the day that they're going to certify the Electoral College votes. That's a really big day in the political process. And since you're only hearing my voice, everybody, I am a white male, raised Catholic, barely Christian, American, middle-aged, cisgender, straight guy. So I sit at just the top of the privilege, ladder. And so I don't have to tune in too much. I'm going to be honest with you, things usually just in that arena kind of go my way. But I tuned in today, and I was listening to some really inspiring orations, like really inspiring, some senators from both sides of the aisle. Really a lot of credit to both of them. And then suddenly, while I was watching, the feed went dead. And the camera cut to a street shot of, people marching. And I was like, come on, let's go back. That was really great. Let's go back and listen to these arguments, these debates, because that's democracy, is in the debate. That's, that's where it's at. Let's hash this out on the floor. These guys battling it out. That's where it takes place. That's the arena. And then I watched in real time. I don't know what to call them. Protesters. I mean, people get triggered by different words if I use them. So I'll try to be as, neutral as I can to keep everybody, aligned, because I don't know, as you're listening to this, what side of the aisle you're on, but I watched the marchers break through the barricades, literally climb the walls, and break in to the Capitol, United States Capitol building. And then I watched them walking through the rotunda, and then I saw them break into the Senate chamber. And these are kind of like, we were talking about this beforehand, just kind of like sacred agreements that we have in our country, where there's just certain stuff you just don't mess with. It's kind of like there's a level of respect and that I thought we had, and today was a day where a piece of political safety for me was broken. A piece of political attachment was broken. And what I mean by that is, in the United States, we all prosper based on an agreement that we're all going to follow a rule of law. We're all going to stop at red lights. And 98% of the time, everybody does. And then we have a rule of law for those who don't. And we have this agreement, and people, for the most part, with the tens and tens and tens and tens of millions of Americans, we all do our part, right? We don't rob, we don't steal, we don't murder, despite what the news says. The United States is in one of the lowest periods of violent crime in its history. We live by these agreements. And one of those agreements is that there's this peaceful transfer of power every 4 years. And today, a very big piece of that machine got interrupted in the most primal, like old way, which was mob rule. And that was scary because that was something growing up, you saw it happen. And even a couple of years ago when the but the Arab Spring, you see it happening elsewhere. You don't see it happening in our own capital. And today I watched it happening in our own capital, and it broke my heart. And it scared me because I'm very uncertain. I was already uncertain. I mean, we're living in a pandemic. So as entrepreneurs, we kind of thrive on uncertainty, I would say. I think that Tony Robbins does a great job talking about the 6 human needs, and two of them are certainty and uncertainty. Mm-hmm. And the interesting thing is that people value those needs differently. So some people value certainty more than others. I would submit that those are people who take like full-time employee with benefit jobs. They like the certainty of that. And then there's this subset of us entrepreneurs who like the uncertainty.
Well, you're talking to a gambling addict, Tim. So, yeah, I guess I'm in the uncertainty bucket. I want to tell you something too. I want to hear more, but I just want to make sure that I was clear with you. We're on camera for YouTube. So you mentioned just your voice.
Oh, very good. Thank you.
Yes, but everybody gets to see the handsome face of yours. I just want to, there you go.
Okay.
I just wanted to give you that.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm sorry I interrupted. You were on.
No, that's an important point because the odds of me picking my nose just went down a lot.
Okay, very good.
I can't guarantee that I wasn't going to pick my nose or was going to pick my nose beforehand, but now it is on my mind to make sure that I don't, because I'm a guy.
I so appreciate you. You're having a rough day and you're still got your sense of humor and you're just showing up powerful, Tim, humble and beautiful. And I just so freaking appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That's very kind. Humor is one of my coping mechanisms. My wife and I have a mantra, which is, someday we're going to look back on this and laugh. So why wait?
I like that. It's very appropriate.
Yeah, I find that it's a good diffuser, of tension, nervous laughter. That's, I think I might be wrong, but I think that is one of the functions of nervous laughter is it's meant to release tension built up inside. So I found that it's helped. It's been a good survival skill. So there may be more jokes before the day is done. Let's just say. But I want to bring this back around to why this is helpful today. So there's great learning, like there's great nuggets in today for entrepreneurs, and one of them is surfing the wave of uncertainty. I had a tennis lesson this morning. Sounds so elitist. And my instructor asked me, he's like, well, what's your day like? And I was like, no 2 days are alike, buddy, because I'm an entrepreneur and I like it that way. And I got ADD to go with it. So bring on the uncertainty. And I'll use a surfing analogy, which is that there is a sweet spot for how big the wave is when you're surfing. If the waves are too small, it's really dull and you're bored. And if the waves are too big, it's just too dangerous and it's just too intense. So too much of a good thing becomes a bad thing. Too little of a good thing is a bad thing. And so everything in moderation, including moderation. Uncertainty, I find, goes the same way. And so I recognize in my own journey as an entrepreneur that I wrestle with this relationship with uncertainty. And there are I want more of it. I want less of it. I want more of it. I want less of it. Right. And give me the cheat codes so that it'll be easy. No, I don't want the cheat codes. No. Give me the cheat codes. I want it to be easy. No, then it's boring. Because if anybody like me has ever gotten the cheat codes before, there's a moment of euphoria and then you're bored. And you're like, oh, there's no fun in this anymore. And I think that would be that would be life without uncertainty. It would be like life with cheat codes. So uncertainty comes to us in our life, and then the game is, okay, that wasn't planned. I didn't see that coming, whatever it was, right? And now what? What do I do? Because now there's a gap between what I thought was going to happen and what's actually happening. Now, this is really great conversation because it's all in the gap where you win or lose the game as an entrepreneur.
Yes.
Right? Because here's what happens in the gap. We make up interpretations and judgments about the gap. This shouldn't be. He shouldn't have. She shouldn't have. I should have. I shouldn't have. We start shoulding all over the place. It's a should storm.
Those voices in our heads,
they run amok, right? And they just start, and a narrative begins about the situation. So it's not the situation, it's a narrative in our head about the situation. But which one do we often fall prey to listening to? The narrative about the situation, not the situation, right? And so we're no longer in reality, we're in our head about reality. We lose our power, we lose our focus, we lose our creativity. So it's all about the gap, because that gap can be small on Monday morning and then big by Monday afternoon. And then you find yourself right on target with something on Tuesday. Hooray, great. And then Wednesday, you're in the gap, between what you thought was going to go on Wednesday and what's got really going on. And then Thursday, and that's up and down, up and down. That's the life of the entrepreneur. So what I've noticed for me is it's really about how am I in the gap when I notice that I'm in the gap. So, okay, this isn't how I planned today, right? And then now what?